This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome back to Chapter 3 of our series, Leaders Who Shaped History. In this episode, titled Churchill, Communication and Conviction Under Fire, we'll explore how Winston Churchill used his powerful words and unwavering resolve to rally a nation during World War II. Get ready to uncover the strategies that made his communication so impactful. Let's dive in. Bombs are falling on London. The future of Europe hangs by a thread. And one man, with a cigar and a stack of handwritten pages, steps up to a microphone, knowing his next few sentences could either steady a nation's nerves or let fear finish the work the enemy has started. Churchill understood something many leaders still miss. In a crisis, people don't just need information, they need orientation. Not spin, not sugarcoating, but a clear sense of where we are, what's at stake, and what happens next. Before each broadcast, he'd pace, rewrite, cut, and sharpen his words the way a chef trims excess fat from a steak, leaving only what would truly nourish a weary public. He worried about tempo, pauses, and how phrases would land in living rooms and bomb shelters, not just in Parliament. This wasn't improvisation. It was disciplined, strategic communication under fire. And crucially, he synchronized his messages with real events at the front, refusing to promise quick victories he couldn't deliver, choosing credibility over comfort, even when the truth was brutal. He also grasped the mechanics of attention. Churchill kept his language short, muscular, and concrete, favoring blunt Anglo-Saxon words over ornate phrases, so that factory workers, farmers, and civil servants could all track his meaning in real time. He treated each address like a campaign, timing key lines to coincide with turning points at Dunkirk, the Battle of Britain, or news from the Atlantic. And he never left delivery to chance. He rehearsed pacing, underlined where to pause or punch a word, and worked closely with the BBC so his voice cut clearly through static, sirens, and sleeplessness. Churchill's real genius was how he fused words, will, and strategy into a single weapon. He wasn't just giving a speech. He was aligning three moving parts: the military situation, the government's plans, and the emotional temperature of the country. First, he set brutally clear stakes and standards. In private war cabinet minutes, you see the same vocabulary as in his broadcasts. Victory at all costs. Without victory, there is no survival. That consistency wasn't accidental. By repeating the same core phrases in Parliament, on radio, and in memos, he created a stable mental framework. Everyone, from generals to dock workers, knew the ultimate objective and the price he was prepared to pay. He used speeches not to float ideas, but to lock in national commitments. Once he'd said, "We shall never surrender," in the Commons, he'd effectively removed "compromise peace" from the menu, for himself and for others. Second, he calibrated emotion to match specific phases of the war. After disasters, Norway, the fall of France, early air raids, he often paired grim factual updates with a narrow band of hope. A fresh alliance, a successful evacuation, a new production milestone. When events turned, such as after the Battle of Britain, he allowed more uplift, but still warned of many, many months of struggle. This wasn't mood music. It was emotional risk management. Too much optimism risked disillusionment. Too much gloom risked paralysis. He walked that line speech by speech. Third, he treated communication as an ongoing relationship, not a series of one-off performances. He read intelligence reports on civilian morale, pored over Ministry of Information surveys, and absorbed excerpts from ordinary diaries. These feedback loops shaped what he emphasized next. More acknowledgement of sacrifice in one period, more focus on Allied unity in another. In modern terms, he iterated his message based on user data, long before dashboards and real-time analytics existed. Finally, his conviction functioned as a kind of collateral for his words. Colleagues describe him repeating, even in private, that Britain would outlast Hitler, because dictatorship carried the seeds of its own decay. That belief gave him a stable core from which to speak. People didn't just hear sentences. They sensed a man who had mentally pre-lived both catastrophe and victory and chosen his stance in advance. Churchill's method wasn't just wartime theatrics. It's a blueprint you can spot in effective modern leaders. Think of a startup CEO announcing a painful pivot. The strongest ones don't flood staff with slides and buzzwords. They frame one clear outcome, repeat a few key phrases across all hands, emails, and investor calls, and let their own visible resolve carry the harder edges of the message. That's Churchill's pattern in a different uniform. You see echoes in how Volodymyr Zelensky has spoken from Kyiv, appearing in simple clothing, using short, concrete phrases, and tailoring messages differently for foreign parliaments, frontline troops, and civilians while holding a single through line: national survival. Or look at New Zealand's Jacinda Ardern after the Christchurch attacks. Firm boundaries, this is not us. Consistent wording across channels, and emotionally calibrated updates as the investigation unfolded. Your challenge this week? Notice one leader you follow who's facing pressure. Track how their words, timing, and visible conviction line up, or don't. In the age of AI, Churchill's approach hints at a new arms race, not in weapons but in whose story feels truest. Synthetic voices will flood feeds with flawless narratives, yet they'll be like beautifully frosted cakes with hollow centers, appealing but unsatisfying on close bite. The edge will belong to leaders who treat stories as living contracts, updating them when facts shift and letting actions pay down the promise their words create in public memory. Your challenge this week: pick one public figure, political, business, or local, who's navigating visible pressure right now. Across 3 different moments, an interview, a post, a speech, a memo, look for cracks or alignment between what they say and what they actually do. Don't judge, just map the pattern. By Sunday, ask yourself, would you still trust their words in a real crisis? In the end, Churchill's real legacy isn't just in archives, it's in how we judge any leader under strain. We instinctively sense when words and backbone truly match, the way we can tell a slow-cooked meal from something microwaved at the last minute. As noise rises, that instinct becomes a filter, and perhaps our most reliable defense against empty narratives. To go deeper, here are 3 next steps. 1. Watch Churchill's 1940 Their Finest Hour speech on YouTube, then read the transcript alongside the analysis in Boris Johnson's The Churchill Factor to see exactly how he builds rhythm, contrast, and moral clarity line by line. 2. Open a free account on Speechify or another text-to-speech tool. Paste in a 1-paragraph, wartime-style message you write for your team, modeled on Churchill's balance of danger plus determination, and listen back to refine your pacing and emphasis. 3. Pick one major Churchill biography, either Andrew Roberts' Churchill, Walking with Destiny, or Martin Gilbert's Churchill, A Life, and skim to the 1939 to 1941 chapters today, underlining 3 concrete ways he communicated under fire. For example, nightly speeches, inspection visits, radio addresses, that you can adapt to how you show up in your own crises. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. This series continues with more chapters on OwlUp.co. Visit OwlUp.co to access the complete course and continue your learning journey. See you there!